I we did. Turn it this way.
Turn the flag up.
That's a court was in here.
Pledge allegiance, please.
Neither one.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll call this meeting to order and make notice that Mike and I are here and the chairman's medical issue. I'm filling in for Bob tonight. Anybody want to know the vice chairman? And we always start this out by if anybody in the public has something they'd like to bring up to us. I don't think we vote on anything. If anybody like a statement they'd like to make, now would be your opportunity. So if anybody'd like anything to say, just feel free to get up and tell us what your thoughts are. If not, then we'll go on. First thing on the agenda is the E911 additional staff, EMA IT courthouse security equipment. Thank you, fellas.
How are you, gentlemen?
Good, thank you.
The council approved in my budget for 2 more full-time positions in the 911 center. I'm here requesting that this board authorize those 2 positions. That will fill in a lot of my part-time staff, which, as you know, with part-time staff, they're actually harder to schedule around than full-time staff, and it will keep the continuity of operations and training all at the same level.
Where they get the money from, you know? If you're not your funds or?
Lit in 1222.
Anything else, Mike?
So is this immediate or is that 2020?
2020, but we're right now to start the advertising and interviewing process, because we're only 2 weeks away from 2020.
I assume dispatchers.
Correct.
So we're also talking about, I know you have a lot of part-time, I mean, those enrolled full-time?
Depending on the interview process and if they're interested, they'll be put out just as standard jobs, and we'll have to have an interview and go through the process.
Okay. That's good to know. I know you always have some openings.
How much was it again?
It took our salary from 206 on our full-time to 297, plus the additionals in the FICA and all that. And all that was accounted for next year's budget and was approved for by council.
Sounds good.
Any motion?
Oh, yeah, I'll make a motion
I'll
to
second.
accept the 2 people.
And I'll second that motion. All in favor say aye. It passes. There you go. That was quick.
Next part that we have on there, cameras install started today. They should be done within the first week of January at latest.
How you doing that? You getting the city help here or what you get done?
No, this cameras for the courthouse.
Oh, the courthouse,
The
okay.
ones that we just got approved for and that's funded.
The upgrade?
Yes, the upgrading that, the company really jumped through tail feathers and switched some stuff around and put us onto a higher priority.
About push bars.
Those will be installed also. It's all part of that.
So is that, and the system's still set up to where if those doors are breached, the alarm will go off?
Correct. It'll also show up in the DSX software, which you'll have a monitoring position at that desk.
You ready, January 1?
Close to it unless they run into a hiccup, so.
So we went through the courthouse multiple times, checked the cameras, voltages, tried to get all the pros and cons worked out, and everything's looking good right now. So
No, the one hiccup we're looking at is power on that side. There's no power outlets on the side where the desk is set up and all that.
or network connected.
Our network.
Talking about down here?
Correct.
I think it was plugged behind the staircase.
On the other side.
Yeah. So instead of running extension cords over as metal detector down and kind of, what we're thinking about doing is right where the, you know where the glass is on the assessor's office. The glass that's on the right side of the door leaving the building. There's that little cubby that's just sunk there. We're thinking about doing a 1-inch cord through that first floor, and that will open up underneath area planning's drop ceiling, where we can run Ethernet there, and also 110 up there with an outlet. So it's just clean, it's parked there out of the way, no one sees it, and
Well, you wouldn't put anything against the wall.
Yeah,
And then that Cubby's a no traffic zone.
yeah, so,
So even later on, if plans change and it's moved, you'd have an outlet cover there. That's,
so we just want your approval to start getting close to drill through the,
yeah, because we don't want to go through the courthouse and drill through stuff without permission first.
It's probably shouldn't be too hard over there since it's a new addition.
yeah,
Probably
it's,
harder to drill through that over there.
it's, I think it's concrete with metal, small metal platform underneath, so I mean, it shouldn't be too fast.
Be a little noisy.
Oh, yeah, they will notice it.
You'll let them know ahead of time.
Oh, yeah, they'll be prepared.
What are we talking, today you get it done?
As soon as I find the right person.
I mean, once you get started?
Oh, yeah, they'll be come in and drill and be out.
Those times.
In a day, we can run the wire, so.
I think, can an electrician just drill the hole?
That's what we're hoping.
Yeah,
That's what we're looking to
Yeah.
find.
I'll bring you a drill if you just want to do it yourself.
Well, we thought about that, but,
there's just something about, hey, look, Andrew made a big crack through the first floor of the courthouse and the concrete's cracking now or
You're the one.
something. Yeah,
You're the
so, have a professional do that.
there's kind of something about professional and electric in the building. We just feel better about that.
That's fine.
You guys know what you're doing.
I'm fine. We need to move along. We've been doing this for 3 years, so.
I don't need motion, I'll go agree with it, just go for it.
I'll say consensus in the minutes.
That works.
Yeah, awesome.
So the cameras are 110 times better than the other ones?
Oh,
my gosh.
Yes.
All right.
There's not blobs walking down the hallway.
I do have a question. Are some of those cameras outside?
Yes, all the externals will be replaced also.
Okay.
And plus the ones over at the 911 corner.
What do you do with the old camera?
We'll probably just box them up and they'll go to auction.
Yeah, they're still usable.
They're usable, but the quality's
It's a
bad.
2000 VCR
You can
quality.
tell if it's a deer or a person.
Maybe.
You can tell the color of the car, but you can't tell if it's an SUV or a car or a truck. You can,
It's a blur.
it's a blur. So, yeah.
I'll believe that. Well, I appreciate it. I know you guys were, been working on it for a long time, and that's been a 3-year project, so if not longer. So.
But once they get in there, they're gonna wash her.
Yeah, we're getting closer on the dump sites.
I don't know, it's been a long
I
time.
know you're tired of hearing that.
No.
No, we're not, because
We're really talking on it heavy, and we're gonna be in the middle of the winter pretty much.
I actually think we've been pretty lucky out there since.
We're gonna have to work with the city because the lift that the sheriff has no batteries,
So the
so
batteries are shot out, so.
working with the city to try and get a lift truck out there.
Yeah. Hopefully you get someone with a little bit more experience around telephone, power lines and stuff.
Troy
Well, that's in
was,
Wexton, there's like, that's where it's at, it's right on a pole.
Yeah, so.
Troy was excited about it over in Lexington. He was like, he didn't know it. He's like, oh, good, if you put yours there where his is, he can move his to another area. He's like ready to
Yeah,
catch them at all angles, you know, so,
it'll be nice.
yeah, I think.
All right, man, thank you.
Thank you,
Awesome.
gentlemen.
Anything else?
Thank you guys.
No.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
Merry Christmas. I gotta go get my daughter.
Thank you.
Mike, courtyard use request, Scott County Visitors Commission.
Gentlemen, the request is basically to help kick off our Scott County Bicentennial Celebration Saturday, February 1st, which is the date of incorporation back in 1820. We've got the governor of the state of Indiana invited. We should be hearing something by the end of the month on his participation level. But we're looking at having a very quick ceremony here on the courthouse lawn to help dedicate that moment and help kick off a year-long celebration.
Yeah, I hope so. It's a big deal, really.
I think it's a huge deal. One of those that only comes around once a year, once a
Once every
lifetime.
200 years.
Yeah, once every 2 years. But just wanted to come today, submitted a request.
You guys have a copy of that, and should you agree, and that's where you sign.
Love your support.
You want to make a motion, Mike?
I'll make a motion, accept it.
I'll second it, pass. So,
Gentlemen, thank you all very much.
Appreciate it, thank you.
thank you. Health Department grant application.
No.
I knew that was coming.
Yes. What are we we go from there.
Yeah. Okay, every year since we've had the syringe program, the Indianapolis Health Foundation of Greater Indianapolis has provided the grant money to purchase the syringes because we can't purchase them any other way. So we just got notification. I have one for Bob. This is, Tammy, there's one. Just the letter, the award letter that we're getting it. We're getting $15,000 again. So I just,
Is that what we got every year?
I think it started out at 10, but this is what, it depends on the money they've got coming in, and they divide it up among the other counties that have syringe services programs as well. So I have the the Scott County request for grant application, that document here, and I've got one for you guys and one for me, and then we've also got the actual letter that we sent them, and you can take a look at it on the signatures.
Sign.
Yes, and if you will approve it so that we can go ahead and submit it for the funds, and we should have the check cut, so we'll start purchasing needed supplies after the first year.
Any discussion?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't kind of contradicted myself here for approving a grant that I disapproved of the program, so I think we need to table it until Bob's here. So
Yeah, we can't pass it.
It's,
None of us can agree on
I
something.
almost
so.
contradict myself. I voted for something that I was against, so
But this is the funds that we've gotten every year.
I know.
Is there a deadline on it or anything?
It starts the 31st
So we'll have a meeting before then.
of December.
Yeah.
If you guys plan one, you don't have one on the schedule.
Well, yeah, we have plans for another meeting for January
Okay.
1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you guys want to.
Yeah, we'll have one for the end of the year, but I got a question. I don't know, well, if you're done with this, I know you were at the last meeting, you brought up something about, you had reports about Narcan.
Yes.
And how many times people are Narcan themselves. I mean, do you still have that?
I do, and I completely forgot to get that to you, but we've got a report that I can pull up, and I will have that to you tomorrow. I just completely slipped my mind that, okay,
But
but that's
I'm not
on,
saying no to this, but I gotta think about this. So,
but the program is going until at least you guys approve it or disapprove it in May.
I know that.
So we've still got, we're still actively,
Also, I guess another question, because I keep telling people that ask, when people get online and stuff and start talking about needle exchange for free needles, and we're talking about they're either a diabetic, and I keep telling them they can come out and get
Yes.
needles.
yes.
Do you ever keep a record of how many
Yes,
people
we
are
do.
actually diabetics that are coming getting needles?
Mhm.
Okay, I mean, could you get that to me as well?
I can.
So I can know, I mean, I wouldn't be totally against this if I knew other people were,
And I had
and how many
some,
people are using it, I mean, compared to, because I do tell people that come to the health department, I say, if you're a diabetic and you need needles, I said, go to. they should
and we
give it.
provided Narcan, and then earlier this summer, we had a supply of EpiPens that were donated to us. So we got the word out for that, and we dispensed a lot of EpiPens that were, not, people didn't have to pay for them. We just asked if they either, showed us a need or got a note from a doctor or something, so we, gave out quite a few of those.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Like I said, if you can give me those reports, and like I said, I'm not saying no to this, I just want to think about those, because it's kind of,
And you'll let me know when the next meeting is? Okay, all
We're
right.
going to set a date on that tonight, aren't we?
If that's what you want.
Yeah, I'd like to, would you, get a date
Okay.
set? Anything else?
No, not right now, unless you guys
Keep
have.
these?
Yes,
We can get
yes.
these? Okay.
That's just the award letter and everything that we've gotten. And then the second and third page is what is expected of us as far as reporting
Yeah.
back to the Greater Health Foundation. And we have to submit regular reports and everything that we do with. And I will tell you that we are keeping much better track of our bringing the needles back and the ones we give out, and we are between the 94 and 96%.
That's the only issue. It always is. And you know that.
But a lot of it is where they are confiscated,
Yeah.
through the police, we don't get those back.
Yeah.
But we are really being very careful on, you know, if someone comes in, if they are not a new client, and we're just giving them just a bare minimum, just because there again, we're still trying to keep the prevention of, you know, of infectious
I think you
diseases.
guys do great. It's like everything. The program starts out, you probably have to feel your way through to get it where you want to be.
We were the first.
Yeah, so I think you guys have done great.
Thank you.
So back to that, I mean, I know before you weren't breaking boxes, you were giving, like, so how many needles are you giving if somebody walks in and goes, you're not getting a 30-day supply or anything?
No, we've only just given a week's supply, and that's based on the rate that they would, when the CDC was first here 5 years ago, they determined that people were injecting up to 20 times. And we ask them each time they come in, we've got, you know, all of our documentation, each time they come in, how many times are they injecting? If they're only injecting 5 times a week or 5 times a day, for, you know, we'll give them 40.
Well,
So
explain them. I mean, you said documentation. They give you documentation?
we have a form that we fill out each time.
And they have to,
Yes, and we ask them how many times they are injecting, and how many needles they've brought back, and how many needles they, you know, then we'll tell them how many we're going to give them then.
okay.
So, and we're very strict on that. We wish we didn't have to be, but, you know, for purposes of
You do.
reporting, and
You have to.
we want to make sure that we are, you know, doing good by the county as well as our clients.
Has the state changed the ID process in it?
Yes. And it's been a nightmare this last week because they completely changed it again. It is a complete scramble. Now instead of first and third letter, first name, first and third letter of last name, it is now first letter first name, first letter of last name, first letter of mother's name, mother's first name, and first letter of mother's maiden name.
So in turn, the law enforcement still doesn't know if a person.
No, but they
is
can
that.
call us at any time, and
So at 3 o'clock in the morning, they call you?
if they so choose to, and my phone, if it rings, then I will answer it.
I don't like how state.
Well, we don't either, but that's out of our
I
control.
know, but they want to have a program, they want to hold your hand, one hand behind your back when they're doing it, so. All right,
All right,
Thank
thank you.
thank you, appreciate it.
Do I- Okay, all right, thanks.
We'll do that at the end of the meeting.
I got it.
Highway Park update.
You got a billboard you want
I have a
to
good
show
word
us?
on that.
Okay. First, real quick, before I get into the letter I sent you all, I know you've seen this, but, we have talked about our budget being hit for the highway department for next year. So this is, just a little spreadsheet showing from 17, 18, and 19, how the state has changed, how our funds are coming in. If you'll just go from 17 to 19, you'll see for the MVH fund, the local agency was getting 47%, and now we're down to 38%. So, our LRS, which is our local road and street, also went from 45 to 37. So we know, we've attended classes, we've heard how they're moving the monies around and how we're gonna take some hits, but I have some ideas.
I saw this in Annapolis.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to send you all the information.
And they, forgive me for jumping in.
No, you're
I
fine.
was sitting in that with you,
Yes.
and they told us they was gonna do this, and I know they want us to pay more through some kind of another form of tax, which is the one they give us. I don't remember exactly saying why they were doing it, do you?
Well, no,
They just want us to pay
want-
more.
Yeah.
They just want us to
Yeah.
pay more. Yeah, I don't remember saying
And-
we're having financial problems or anything like that.
And I believe any firm here, they can tell you it's because they're using the money for state jobs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah, they wanna
doing,
keep
they're
the
doing
money.
construction
They wanna
too,
keep
so
the
they
money.
need the money too. So
Yeah.
I wanted you just to have that to show, but one of the first things that I wanted to talk to you about leading into the budget being hit is the part that I told you about. The most recent handbook states that the county highway department can only accrue 40 hours of comp time. I'm asking for the commissioners, and I know it will have to go in front of the council too, but I'm asking for the commissioners to put that back to 80. 40 hours, I have one employee here, and he's actually here tonight, that has not even participated yet in snow removal, only paving. He's our roller. And he has 40 hours. I mean, we can't stop in the middle of a road at 3 o'clock and quit paving. So, and I have also, in one of the departments that have sent people home, the ones that are here can attest to that. If they've worked Monday through Thursday and already have their 40 hours, I have sent them home to not go over. But the 40 hours for the highway department is just, that's just too low.
What was it before?
80.
It's always been 80.
Well, it's been 120, then it went to 80.
It is.
80 is the
The
lowest
last few years.
prior
it's
to
been
this,
80.
correct, correct.
I assume right now what you're doing, if you have to work them, they just get paid overtime.
They get comp time. That goes
Well,
back
up to
to,
40 hours though.
yes,
But
but,
after, if they got over that, you gotta pay them, don't you? If
or
40
they can have time,
We mean have time.
comp time.
Okay.
No, I guess what he's asking
Oh.
now is if it's 40 hours or.
Yes, sir,
And
yes,
at
sir.
the end
I
of
had to
the 40
actually pay some people out because we actually just had a big meeting about this and called Tammy because we couldn't find that it was 40. So I did have to pay some people out that had over 40.
Okay.
But I go back to, with this being lowered, if you're limiting me to 40 hours, and I have to have a budget to pay them out, that limits me also. And I will also say I'm one of the only departments that has a line item in their budget that if someone retires or quits or gets fired, I have a separate line item outside of my salary line item to pay their days that they have
So we
saved.
don't have to next year.
Correct. No, 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 no.
Well, see, that's always been my thing with, and I've asked council about it before, is that is all the departments that has comp time budgeting.
The
The
council
next
has
year.
always instructed us to do that. I've done it since I've been there.
Okay, but I always questioned it because, the sheriff's
It
department comes
hurts
in.
them.
I mean, if they come in, and somebody that's been there for 20 years retires and they want all their comp time paid, are you budgeting that comp time? Because if you don't budget it, where's the money gonna come from?
I don't know about
So-
theirs.
And I understand that, but I mean,
Yeah.
well,
And again, I'm sorry, this has to go in front of the council
Oh, I'm
also, I've been
Yeah,
told, but.
yeah. Well,
but I understand what you're saying, and you, along with the sheriff's department, are the two that probably, when things happen here at the courthouse, they, that's different
work
than
around it.
when you're out on the road and you're either pushing snow or paving or doing something. Sometimes you're at the act of Mother Nature or somebody
Right.
else, so, I'm for changing it back to what it was.
Is 80
I
enough?
know it had to go to them.
Yeah, I don't wanna push my luck. I mean, I don't. I think that, I'm trying to be fair too.
Yeah.
I don't wanna put us in a hole either. I don't want people off all the time either. But,
But there was a time when like through the summer months, when you weren't, or maybe, I don't know when it was, but I remember at times when there'd be a Friday that nobody be working, or there'd be people that were off because they were eating their comp time, correct?
correct,
Okay. I mean, is that still happening?
yes.
But you can,
We
But
control
you
that when we're not
you
paying.
regulate it.
Right, we regulate it.
if you had an emergency.
I mean, if it's a rainy day and somebody's got comp time, I mean, if
And
they
they
wanna
want
go
to-
home, they can go home.
Yeah.
But if it's a snowy day.
But if
sorry
it's a
about
snowy
your
day,
luck,
it's
it'd work,
mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and there, right there you said it. When it's snow, it's,
They
you're
have
not
no
saying,
choice.
hey, come in if you want, you're
No choice.
mandatory to be there, so in turn, we're forcing them to work, and you still wanna pay their comp time, so I think it's a no-brainer, so.
I agree.
I'll make a
I think
motion to
it's-
send it to the council and see what they come back with.
I think it's kind of hard to explain to a constituent in the middle of a snowstorm, sorry, I can't get out there today. 'cause we
sure,
got
it can't
people
pay,
off.
right.
No, I'm with Mike on this one, I agree 100%. Of course, the council have to look at it and make their own decision, but you made a motion?
I made a
I'll
motion.
second the motion passes. Okay.
Second thing real quick, I know, and if you don't wanna discuss it, the biggest font, is the problems we've had with the paving. I was hoping that I would be contacted by MAC yesterday. They went out, I went on Christie with them, 2 other road bosses and another employee. And then from there, they went to 3 other spots. And I was hoping that when they came back to the garage, because they had 4 cars, so they rode together, that their representative would come inside and say, hey, we want to, see what we can do to, nothing yesterday. So I was kind of hoping maybe they would call today and say, I've heard nothing.
And
So,
my understanding is, it's in the contract, where a problem is supposed to come back and take care of it.
correct, for a year and a half.
Looks like they're refusing.
Is this,
They are wanting to crack seal, and I do not feel like a road should have cracked and have crack seal on it that we just paid for,
is this a 219 paving?
correct? This
So
is
in
this year's payment.
219 paving is already correct?
Yes, sir. Christie Road was
And
cracked,
I saw in your letter here that they're stating that it was because of the base. Well,
correct.
if they're putting pavement down on top of a bad base, wouldn't that be their responsibility?
That's what I said to them.
I mean, just because they say that it was the base, I mean, the base is, I mean, if there was water there, they put it over top of water, I mean,
That's what,
so I'd say if you
so
don't.
I just wanted to give you a heads
I
up.
don't think, I know you work well with them, but if you continue to get snow or stone wall or whatever, get a hold of him, and let him send a nice letter or phone call to him and say, hey,
And they have been paid, isn't that what you said?
Yes, they have been full.
Yeah, I'm like I said, what's our alternative? Let's have our attorney look at it. But they should also know too that there's gonna be more paving, and
Well, they picked up a bid packet today,
yeah,
so they're well aware there's more paving, but.
we'll decide as we go. But I
Correct,
mean,
correct.
kind of
But I'm
hard to
like
forget
you,
it
I
when
mean-
somebody's not taking, they got quite a bit of money out of this, so.
1.1.
So it's kinda
they
like
should be
the-
thrilled to death to come back.
kind of like Hardy Lake Road we talked about, and they wanted to just,
Correct.
patch that, and that's, if it's a brand new road, I don't want them crack sealing it already, so.
I'll give them another week, but
Is that the only road?
no,
There's a couple.
yeah, Christie Road, Leota Road,
I
Jimtown.
mean, Mac do all these?
Yes, sir. This is all the community crossing grant.
Okay.
Well, actually, I've seen some roads, they do good work, I don't know what happened in these situations, but
I'm gonna say it's the mix, but
what's obvious that probably is leaning towards the biggest thing, because
I think everybody back there is gonna say it's the mix. And I'll tell you what, the best thing, and 2 of them's here, but the asphalt, conference we went to, best thing we ever did. I mean,
so
it
you got
was,
educated, huh?
it was excellent, excellent. We learned a lot, and really, we learned
What not to do.
actually about Christie Road. That guy kind of helped us out a little bit, so. So anyway, we appreciate that you let us go to that because it was good. Real quick too, the community crossing grant, I hope you read that, what I would like to do for the next year's grant, that I would like to do some figures and see what you all thought about us doing the work.
I mean, if it's cheaper, and we get more roads out of it, I mean, if you think you can do it just as well.
I think let me say this, the council, we went back to the council, and the council had a 4-2 vote to give us this year's match. And Teresa, which does the finance part, kind of even warned the council that 2021 is going to be tight. So we obviously need to make sure that we have our own funding for these coming up years. We appreciate that they helped us this time, but we're going to have to be ready ourselves. I think we could get less money from the state, which means we have to pay in less, but get more roads paved because of cost difference of us doing it compared to a contractor doing it.
So what would the state pay, just material?
material only. But, I mean, we're working anyways.
Well, that's
how
what I was
I-
gonna
it's
say, if we're
how I
out there
work it
in
out.
an
Right.
8-hour day or 10-hour day or
Right.
whatever, we're still, our guys are still being paid if they're.
But getting those figures and stuff together is a lot of work, so I just wanna make sure that
Get on it.
you both think that it's okay to do.
Is all our equipment ready? And, I mean.
Well,
I
that's
know
where I'm
you-
going next.
Okay.
Glad you brought that up. I'm gonna be Jerry Gooden tonight, I'm gonna stay up here all night.
Son.
Yes, son. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I really, what we learned at the conference is equipment. That's the key. There was a guy there from, I don't know where he's from, but anyway, he was great. And he said, I mean, what we've used and what we've got accomplished is unreal. So I am wanting to purchase a new paver. And before Mike Zolman falls over, I have it in Local Road and Street, which is where I do all my leasing for vehicles or any equipment. We did just purchase 3 new trucks. I had the money in this year's budget for one, encumbered it to 2020's budget, which I have the money in for truck number 2, which means I only have 2021 to pay for number 3, okay? I had bought a new tractor and mower 2 years ago that I had paid in 2019, and I will pay the other half in 2020. That's already in the budget. I have enough to be able to come and ask the council for an additional, to be able to pay the first payment in 2020, and then,
Talking about a paper.
yes, sir. And then, of course, 2021, the mower would drop off of that budget. So really, my extra would only be $50,000 in that year's budget. Then 2022, I would have nothing because my third truck would be paid off, if you kind of stay with me there. So we did meet with one company today. We'll meet with 3. Again, if you remember me talking about the Sourcewell program, it's a program that entities belong to, and you do not have to bid out. They bid out for you. They do all the work. You can get cheaper prices of equipment. They did participate in Sourcewell, but again, we're still gonna meet with a couple other. But before I start meeting with more, I wanna make sure that you're on board for this. Because if we would pave ourselves, you're gonna have to have equipment. And I think anybody in the county can go out and see, these guys are doing just as good a job as I put them up against any paving company.
I would too.
So,
I was arguing with him the other day about, you know, I had the lines in my road and Bob got the
yeah,
line through.
yeah, I know. So anyway, you are talking, you're talking $500,000. It would be an investment, but you're running a 1980 and a 1987,
That's
or
broke
97 right now that's broke down.
If you do your own roads, how much more road? Think we'll
You're
get
talking-
4 more miles or what?
Oh, no, you're talking double,
We'll double the amount of miles
Oh,
of
yeah.
pavement we're
yeah.
getting. Okay.
You gotta think, yeah,
Yeah, but it would,
almost, let me go almost, I don't want to get you too.
We did how many miles last year?
Us,
Well, how many
Or the
miles did we
grant.
do in the county?
probably 25 between the
All
grant
together,
and
between
us,
grant and us? So you're talking
a lot,
40, 50? Okay.
at least 40.
That would be big,
So
yeah.
how many are
I can see why we wouldn't look at this, yeah.
so how many miles are the county paving?
This coming year, we're only
This
gonna
past
get
year.
10 probably, and community crossing was 15 probably.
But you're saying.
It's hard because I work a year ahead with
Yeah, the
numbers.
community crossing, I mean, in that grant, is there a stipulation that they'll pay just for the
Yes.
mix of material?
No equipment, no wages, no mix only. It literally says mix only. But you gotta realize if you're going to a plant and you're telling a plant that you're getting ready to buy $1 million worth of mix, what's that price gonna be? I guarantee it's gonna be better than your
Oh,
annual
I
bids.
guarantee it, yeah.
So,
Plus you're waiting.
you know, right now we pay $52 a ton for hot mix. So you take that down to $50. I know that don't sound like, but you do $1 million worth of it, that's a lot.
Line it out from Roger. What do you need us to vote on tonight?
I would just like your permission to go ahead and get some quotes and present to you all and have your blessing, or, you know, maybe you go, you know, be able to go to the council when we do get a solid price and, you know, explain to them what we're wanting to do.
Well, you got my blessing. I don't need to vote on that or not, but, all you're doing is really exploring right now. going to
Correct,
council.
I'll bring you the price, yes,
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with
yeah.
Well, I agree with you, because I think we pay as well as anybody else pays. I mean, and I told those guys that the other day, George Lucas Senior would be happy as heck to have any of them work for him, so. But, I'll make a motion if that's what it takes to move it along, and it's just,
I'll second.
if we're not buying anything, you get to the point where you can go look with some backbone, so.
That's unanimous, and that means you can move the council down and go with your.
Last thing real
Be
quick,
kind of curious though, you said you were going to get some figures on, what, if we went for the crossing grant for the million or whatever versus
right,
getting it just for the materials, so, I mean, we need to figure out if we're beneficial for getting a full grant, somebody else
Right.
paying it, or if it's beneficial for us to do it the other way,
right,
so.
and I'll get both ways.
Okay.
Who do we buy our asphalt from?
Omer,
Where even asking, they're closed until,
oh, April maybe, I mean, it's their call,
you know where I'm going, I'm going up
Yeah.
that bridge out there. Is
Yeah.
there anything we can do?
not really, not that's gonna stay or,
No patching, no nothing,
I
I'm
mean,
talking about some of that,
we could try to get some cold mix, I mean, you're just wasting money, as soon as the plow hits, it's gonna,
I know. What about that, stuff that Worley has, that stuff that came off old, highways, none of that stuff would work at all. Should we at least put a sign up on it, because that's pretty rough when they get
I
there.
mean, we can.
Something just let people think, hey, slow down, this is, I've hit it, and it
What are you talking about?
I could
could, Crowsville Road.
put up a sign that says patience.
Something, I know you've helped me, Chad has on
I
that,
know.
I know
Yeah.
exactly what you can do, but I'm hearing it.
I know.
If I hear
I
it,
know
you're
you
gonna
do.
hear it.
I
You
know.
said Ohio Valley
We'll-
rate directs through it?
Yeah, and I know you're gonna discuss this at the end, but I wanna make sure that you both know this, and Bob, those are,
I got it.
yeah,
Yeah.
those are in the newspaper, so you have to meet those days for bids. And the community crossing bid, we will come in, you will open them, the room will be packed, you will open them, we will tell them that I will go down, I'll have a
Like we did
spreadsheet
last
for
time.
them, and then they'll come back that night and they can have a spreadsheet, because they get a little antsy.
Gotcha.
You gotta go for me? Besides, all right, I
And I don't complain about the bridge, so.
That's all right, okay.
Although they did a good job
You
on
notice I took
that.
my glasses off.
I saw, it. You can already see it.
John, can I
Thank
say
you.
something?
Yes, sir.
When Jill was talking about council passed $234,000, that came from hospital reserve. That did not come from tax money, I just like to point that
Oh,
out.
sorry,
Okay.
yeah. And I will say too, Mike, I went back and looked, that actually out of the hospital money, the council has given us $1,721,792.02. So, and that was all hospital revenue, no tax
Yeah,
dollars.
these, community crossing grants you got, if we had an engineer do that, what would we be paying? Yeah,
45,000.
Yeah,
so we're talking.
That's whether you get it or you don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're talking over $100,000.
160 so far for the 4 I've done.
Somewhere.
That year.
Somewhere along the line, I don't know what,
Yeah.
I think we ought to look at compensating somewhere for that. I'm not bringing it up, I'm just saying I think you deserve something.
I appreciate it.
There, well, look, so that's here, there, right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
By the way, I did ask you to get a list of your wants, so,
I did.
oh, so that's all that in here? I saw some tractors, mowers, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, you talk to them, their wants and my wants are gonna be two different ones.
Well.
But I did try to put most of it in
Okay, so you got prices in here too?
it. No,
I know it's too big, I really didn't see that. but-
yeah, sorry.
Alright,
I'm gonna get you another letter typed up.
alright.
Next thing up, the veteran service officer position. I'll start on this, and you can go wherever you think ought to go on this too, but, I'm kind of all for favor of putting this off to the next meeting, just simply, not so we may agree or disagree on somebody, but I know, Joe DeVito wants to do an assessment.
That was one thing that
Did
was
he do that?
suggested.
He hasn't done it, right?
Because he hasn't been told who to assess. So he,
So he just needs to, I mean, I think it's down to two people, but I mean, I think if he wants to do it, I thought would have already done that.
he was waiting until he got a couple of choices from you guys and then to evaluate them and then give you independent feedback.
I'll just tell him to contact all three of them to do whatever he wants to do and then let us know and then we'll do it by the end of the year.
Yeah, we want to have it done before the next meeting, actually, don't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
If he can do that, his
Yeah.
schedule's pretty tight, so I will talk to him and see.
because I thought he'd already done that because.
He was waiting on a
Well, we only had
selection.
three, so I mean, if he wants to do all three of them,
I just don't think we told him to do it yet.
No.
I talked to him about
He
it.
was under the impression that he wasn't going to be doing it because they didn't, you guys didn't want him to.
Well, I talked to him up in Indianapolis.
And that's where I
I
think he-
explained to him, I wasn't too sure that was where he was going either, but I wanted to go that way, and I
Okay.
assume you do too. So, I mean, we could vote tonight, but.
I think two of the three were pretty
I agree.
efficient, so.
And he's willing to do whatever, he's starting to schedule training, because he's regional, obviously.
I think two would be sufficient, but I'm pretty confident in either one, but he knows what programs they need to be in and what they need, how efficient they need to be where, so I think he still needs to look at it so he can give us a recommendation.
You'll call him.
I'll just,
And if he can't do it, well, I guess we'll just make a decision. so.
Okay, all right, I'll check.
But he said he wanted it.
Yeah,
So,
I know he came in here and said that, but
and then you can just, set up a meeting with him,
Okay.
have them come in such and such day.
I will check with him and see
So just
what
put-
works, and I'll
I
let
think-
you guys know.
yeah, it's fine.
Consideration minutes for the November 6th meeting.
Does anybody need a copy of them?
I've seen them, so I'll make a motion to accept them.
I'll second the motion, passes. Payroll docket ratifications for November 22nd, longevity, and December 6th, 2019.
I'll make a motion to accept them.
Second, anything else we need to do on that?
I think that's all.
There's a lot of sign in here, is it?
There's three where you have three different payrolls we had since you guys have met last, because this is the December meeting.
We'll set a record.
There you go.
Yeah, keep on the back.
And you'll just have to bear with me on, as we go through these small batches of claims here. Because I didn't feel like we needed copies of every one of them. You've got 3 tabs, John.
I'm trying to.
Are these, you got on here year-end claims, I mean,
I've got it right, this is,
okay,
yeah.
'cause I thought that's what we were doing in the next meeting.
That, well, actually, this is probably it. That's why I was not for sure if you guys wanted to assemble, that's why I've got, at the end, we'll talk about our next few weeks' schedule, if you don't mind.
And while we're at that executive session, I don't see when we call that either.
Bob's not here,
No, that's what we,
so I don't even know what he was going to talk about, so.
let's cancel that. Consideration year-end End of year claims.
Okay, if you'll bear with me, we'll kind of do these one at a time.
Okay.
This is a claim, it's pretty straightforward, they just wanted to extend that. It's for dental services at the jail, it's pretty straightforward, $21.50.
They come to the jail.
You're asking the wrong
Okay.
person, I'm not for sure, John.
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
I think they do.
Yeah. Just need me to sign it or,
Actually, you have to approve.
well, that
I'll make
makes
it.
it, put it, yeah.
I'll make them.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Sign her on the
You
bottom
want to
there.
sign on the bottom where it says allowed on, yeah, just underneath the, yeah, that's good right there.
You might sign it.
No.
No, it's just.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next one we have, are actually, they're a pair, we can look at it one time. They're for the purchase of the radios, and the money is there for the dual band radios,
Okay.
Or who?
The jail, sheriff.
the sheriff's department, yes. And that was the radio, it's for ECS.
He, is that something he was getting from another county, I think, was there some?
There, I remember him talking about some donations,
Yeah,
but then these are actual new radios that
it's
have.
gonna allow them, everybody to communicate
I
better.
think there was discussion about the different safety units and being able to communicate, and I think that's what,
Yeah, I think
They
he talked
came
about
up with
that
this
last, did he
fix.
not talk about that last council meeting too?
Yeah, we've discussed it with him, I don't remember if it's the last one or not, but yeah,
Yeah.
we've had a discussion, yeah, the money, I think the money's already in place.
Is that, so is the money there?
I'm sorry?
I said, is the money in place for these?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'll make a motion.
I'll second the motion, motion passes. Where do we sign on this one at?
Same down, you can sign under the county auditor down there, John.
Under it?
Yes, under the auditor.
All right.
Thank you very much. And the last group, we can handle as a group, it's a very cumbersome group, I'll say. It's my settlement. The units like to get their money, obviously, by December the 31st. And I have what we call the FIT and the CVET, that's Financial Institution and Commercial Vehicle Excise Tax. I do many settlements with those. This unit money is dispersed, like for the schools, the cities, whatever the state appropriates for it. And then also, my large group of claims for all the units for the tax collections and the vehicle excise tax collections. So these are a large group. I've got $9,007,727.70 going out the door. This has been state approved. I've gotten all my documentation from the state. And
That's just in my Scottsburg, Austin.
this is the
School.
final, we've reconciled our tax files for the year and balanced with the state, and they're in agreement. And this is money that we send to them. There's fines and fees in there that's collected through the clerk's office. There's vehicle excise tax, there's property tax collection, and there's also commercial vehicle excise tax and financial that's given to us in an EFT by the state that we turn around and distribute back to all the units. So this is just our final settlements for the year end for tax collections. So if you would just approve that batch, then I'm good to go to send the money out on
Any thoughts,
the
Mike?
weekend.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
I'll second. Motion passes.
And then I guess now we're down to your meeting
You don't need to
schedule.
sign anything or nothing?
No, you don't need it to, John, on this one.
Uh,
The starter trash.
The art trash.
Oh, I'm
sticker.
sorry, I skipped
Yeah.
that.
Star Trash Sticker Program discussion.
In your packet, you will see a very long ledger. You've got front and back copies, front and back pages. This
This
is
is,
for your review. Yes, sir, that's it. To see kind of a history of the Saxco and now the Star Trash Fund. We are, no surprise to Jill, we are evidently falling in our revenue. And even though we have reduced the cost, we went from bags to stickers, we are still running, surprise, surprise, in the negative in this fund. And we have money in the timber fund, in professional services. that we would request that I have permission to use to square this fund up, because State Board of Accounts does not like to have a negative balance left at the end of the year.
You're
There's-
asking for a transfer?
So, no, not a transfer, just permission to pay, and balance this fund with the, whatever the ending balance is. I have $2,700 in outstanding revenue that I can expect to receive by the end of the year. And provided we don't sell a few more stickers by the end of the year, then I also have another $2,700 that's hanging out there that we won't receive it until January, at least January. So if you would give me permission, you can see this is worst case scenario.
I got
On the
a
back
question on,
page.
so before we started the STAR program, well, there was a deficit there before, wasn't there?
It varied, from some months we would come on top just a little bit, and other months we would be severely behind.
So I guess my question is, where we took on the stickers
Mhm.
compared to the bags, and we're still when, I mean, even though the stickers are cheaper,
Well, you guys approved camera expenses,
oh, I know.
and we're paying a little bit more out of that fund than we used to now. So it got more expensive than cheaper, and, that's a big discussion for next year, I think, to figure out where we,
Besides the cameras, what else is getting paid out of there besides buying the stickers?
the stickers and the contract.
But the contract's always been
It's been the same.
roughly the same.
But I think we've got a lot of private use in the county now where we did not before, so our volume, I think, is down. Because we've reduced the cost as far as we can go on the supply. So now we've got to look at what other factors are creating this. Are we
That's what I'm getting
not
at.
taking as much trash in, but our costs are steady? You know, basically we decrease a little bit, you know, $100 a month plus the initial startup on those cameras. But, you know,
For now, you need money on timber.
but just whenever the fund closes at the end of the year, the last date that I can receive, if we can move money from professional services into this, whatever the balance would be, I just need your permission.
You
I'll
probably,
make a motion to do it, but like I said, I'd like to know when it's square, you know,
Yes.
how we're coming.
That's why I gave you that sheet, because I want you to kind of look back, because there is a drastic change in 15. If you look at the fund balance, and then that was a year that something happened because stuff started to go down the
Well, I'd like to
drain.
know, because
And I don't know usage or what, something changed.
we've been in this, what, at least a year? In the
Yeah.
It's a STAR program you have.
Yes, I think it was about a year in July, wasn't it?
Well, looks like, 10, 18, somewhere around there. 9/7, looks like a 2018.
That's
when it
probably
started.
when it really took off, because I think we sold the last of the bags and then started with
Okay.
the stickers.
I'd just like to know, I understand the usage going down, but the cost of the bags went down too, or because we're not selling bags, but
If you look at 12/31 or 14, we had a balance of 33,000. And 12/30 of 15, it was $7,900.
okay.
Something
now you
that
probably,
year changed.
you probably said a minute ago, how much money you're gonna have to move out of timber fund?
It's at the bottom, it's on here. I'm not for sure exactly, depends on what revenue I get, but you've got worst case scenario right here on the end of your sheet.
16,000.
16,000 is the worst case scenario.
I'll make a motion to move to 16,000, or up to
Or less.
16,000.
And I'll make the motion, I make the motion back up to, I said the same thing, that's not the move, it's just to use it, right? Out of timber fund.
Yes, with this,
Yeah.
it's
I
just to
second
use
the
it.
motion passes. All we have left is the meeting schedule, Mike. What do you think? Let me get my calendar up.
Well, the week of Christmas, is not good for me. So I can do it on,
That would give the 30th or 31st.
I can do it on 30th, I'm fine all day that day.
Yeah, that's fine with me. 5 PM,
It's fine.
Tuesday, 30th, okay, 5 PM.
No, Monday.
Monday.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Monday, December
Okay.
30th.
Monday's not good for me, but I can rearrange it for that.
Well, Tuesday's New Year's Eve, I don't know if you want to be doing that on New Year's Eve, so.
I can, but, I'm okay, I can do either day.
So your January the 1st meeting, then since that's that same week, we'll forego that meeting, I'm assuming. Then we would meet on regular schedule, provided 10:30, 10 or 10:30.
I don't know.
Whatever it says on that sheet on the 15th for the bid opening, correct?
I couldn't see it on that.
And then at 5 PM that evening.
That's January 15th, wasn't it?
We'll have 2 that day.
Yeah, January 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
If you want to do 30th, I don't care, Mike, I can go along with that, I'll work it out.
If there is nothing on your agenda by the 30th, if nobody is beating the door down to see the commissioners before the end of the year, I'll call you guys and we can always post it and then cancel. That's always the option.
But if there is something, I mean, I guess where I'm coming at is that we've
We
got
can
two.
attend to it, right?
Well, what I'm saying is though, is if we meet on the 30th, we're gonna cancel the first meeting of 2020. If we're not gonna meet on the 30th,
Then you want to know.
we probably need to meet because we told several people that we've got two openings that we need to
Why don't
fill,
we just
so.
plan on the 30th?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Yeah, 30th.
I'm good with that, no
30th is
problem.
good with me. 5 p.m. Anything else, Mike? But, audience, got anything before we call this meeting off? Close it? Closed. Over.
Okay.
Done
One
with.
thing, Mike.
Adjourned.
Agree?
Till next meeting.
Okay, if you all sign right then, before you get out of here. That's Aflac, they have to have everybody sign it, and you do not take our county insurance, correct? Hang on just a second, let
We
me.
gonna meet with the insurance again.
So I just need to sign off.
And I'll show you where to initial, Mike.